Hello guys! Today we are going to be making raspberry cheesecake macaroons. These little guys are so good. They're probably my second favorite dessert ever, and they're so easy to make. And with the raspberry cheesecake, I know raspberry is really tart, but with this, with the cream cheese in it, it's so rich and cheesy that it just pretty much makes the raspberry taste so good. So yeah, they are, I can't get enough of them. I've already eaten like 5, but you know, that's okay. Don't tell anybody. So yeah, let's go. Okay, so for the cookie, you will need 200 grams of sifted powdered sugar, icing sugar. Pour that into a bowl. And you will need 110 grams of almond flour. Put that in the same bowl. And then you're going to combine those two until they're fully incorporated. Alright, once that's fully incorporated, put it aside, and in your mixer with the whisk attachment, add 100 grams of egg whites. And you're going to whip those until they're foamy and white in color. Alright, and now you're going to slowly add in 50 grams of sugar and just continue whisking until it's all combined and formed into stiff peaks. Alright, they're almost there to stiff peaks, but before I finish it, I'm going to add in half a teaspoon of vanilla and a couple swipes of red food color. Alright, and now we have some pink meringue. And with this, scrape down the sides some. You're still going to have some white meringue left over. So you want to scrape and then mix again. And that's done. Alright, now we want to slowly fold in the dry mixture into our whites to get it all incorporated. You don't want to completely flatten out the whites so it'll be liquidy, but you do want it to where it'll be a thick, like pudding texture. So once everything is all mixed, you want to have a runny batter, but it's still really thick. You don't want it super thin because it will spread out on the parchment as it bakes. You still want it kind of thick, but not gloopy. Okay, and then you want to just pipe them onto parchment. I used the little ring molds and traced an outline of them just so I can get the right size in each one. How I did that, I just got a small cookie cutter and traced around it on parchment, and then I flipped it over, and I'm going to use the back side just so I don't get any ink on it. I'm going to be piping these out of a plastic bag. The reason I do plastic bags is with macaroons, since the batter tends to be a lot more watery than regular buttercream and different frostings, I like to be able to zip the top so it doesn't pop out the top of the bag. So yeah, it's a lot easier. Good enough for that. Shut the top. Don't shut it all the way, just so you can get some of the air out. I like to push it all to the bottom and then seal it up. And then now you have your little piping bag. Get some scissors, snip it off, and go ahead and start piping. Alright, so now that that's done, you want to tap your pan on your table just to get all the air bubbles out and push them up to the top, so whenever you do bake them, they won't crack and look all ugly. Alright, so that's done. Now we have to wait from between 15 and 30 minutes just so they can get a hard shell on top. So whenever they do bake, you can get the little feet around the macaroon just so it'll be an actual macaroon. So it's been about 15 minutes and the macaroons, they do have a shell on them. It's not super hard. It's still kind of sticky, but at this point I'm going to go ahead and preheat my oven. And once the oven is preheated, then they will be good to go. You do it to 350 degrees and you'll be baking them for 8 to 12 minutes. The oven has beeped and our macaroons are very shelly already. They're hard, they don't stick to your finger, and that's a good sign. So put them in the oven and watch it bake up. Hey everybody! What's wrong? So my macaroons are done. I had a little extra in the batter, you will, so I made a little bit more. And once they're out of the oven, let them sit for a couple minutes, and then you can pull them off, and they should come off like perfectly fine. And if they're not, then you need to bake them for a little bit more. And then just set them on a plate and let them cool. Our macaroons have now cooled, and now it's time to frost. I forgot to do a video on how I made this, but it's really simple. You just take 8 ounces of cream cheese and 2 to 3 tablespoons of the raspberry jam. Mix them together in a bowl, put them in a baggie, and then you're good. For the raspberry jam, you need to add 2 tablespoons of water and 2 tablespoons of sugar into a saucepan. Bring those to a boil and let all the sugar dissolve. Then you need to chop up a small handful of raspberries and let that boil and let all the raspberries dissolve. Once it becomes thick, you have your raspberry jam. Put that into a small bowl and stick it in the fridge for it to cool completely. Alright, so cut off the tip of the bag, and you want to find 2 macaroons that are the same size, just so they'll look natural. And there we go. And take one of them and pipe a ring on the outside edge. Center, and then take a raspberry half. I just cut raspberries in half and put that right in the center, and then put the other on top. Squish it some, and there we go. You have a macaroon. And now just keep doing that with all the other ones, and that'll be it. You don't want to push too hard on the tops or you're going to break the whole macaroon. So just slowly and gently start adding pressure to it. And you'll have a good macaroon. Alright, so now we're done. Go ahead and just decorate with some raspberries, make it look all cutesy. Oops, don't knock them all over though, but that's okay. Alright, so yeah, these are so good. They are very nice and sweet, and with the little raspberry in the center, it brings all the tartness back with them. And they just taste really good, and they're so decadent. And yeah, so I hope you enjoy them. I am about to enjoy all of these right now. Not really, I'm just kidding. And so yeah, I love y'all. Hope y'all subscribe, and I will see y'all later. Bye.